You're listening to the Craft Messages That Matter podcast. I'm your host, Theo Capodistrius. Grab a coffee, sit back, and enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the final episode of the Craft Messages That Matter podcast for 2023. Now, my episodes have definitely not been as consistent as I wanted them to be. But as I'll tell you in this episode, this year has been pretty busy. And of course, I did have the software breakdown that I was not anticipating, and it made me very, very sad to the point that I'm still in dispute with that company. But hey, we're going to put that aside because I've got my secondary solution, which is actually quite difficult, but it's allowing me to bring you something. I want to tell you a couple of highlights from my year, and not in a means to boast, but just as a way to show that, there's been a lot happening. Started off the year starting a new job as the general counsel for a new tech company, and it's been such a fun ride. I've loved the opportunity to get back in there and to do some pretty incredible things in the legal space. Once again, speaking has been the primary thing I've done in my business, and it's been fantastic. I have been to many incredible cities in Australia this year, a lot of time in Sydney. I've been to Canberra, I've been to Melbourne, I've done some stuff virtually, and it's just been so much fun to be able to share my message and all of my really important keynotes and workshops that I have with audiences across Australia and the world. It's been incredible to do workshops with some leading global brands, and I've felt very proud that this Tasmanian guy has been able to make an impact across the world. I ran another TEDx Hobart, which was such a fun and very, very challenging experience, but I'm doing it all again in 2024, this time a little bit delayed. And of course, I delivered my own TEDx talk, and actually putting myself in that position was an incredible experience, and it's something which I recommend everyone does. Of course, TEDx isn't a platform for everyone, and it's because of, I guess, the structure and the format and what it's about. It is good, it is powerful, but it's not the only way to get your message out there, because TEDx is all about ideas. So if you think it's something for you, then hey, why don't we have a chat? I could probably help you to get yourself into a position where you could potentially present at TEDx one day, and I can tell you about what it's all about. But today's episode, I want it to be about some of the really pivotal things I want people to take away from the year, from, I guess, some of my lessons, but also take into 2024. We're going to have a look at the themes of embracing change, the importance of authenticity in our communication, and how we can use fear as fuel. So, embracing change. I want us to look at the importance that change can have on our world. So, change is not just an inevitable, but it's so essential for growth. And this year, I think we've seen, I guess just from, the speaking space, that, there are so, we've seen how to adapt into new environments, dealing with new audiences, and how speaking formats can dramatically enhance how our communication skills. So really important that we adapt and change and grow how we present and speak depending on who our audience is. But when we think about the importance of wanting to speak and present and communicate more effectively, we need to be ready to embrace change. Because if you've been saying to yourself, I want to change, but you're not doing anything about it, will a change actually happen? And I've worked with a few different clients this year who have all said, I really want to change, but they're not changing what they're doing. That makes me ask the question, do you actually want to change? Because if you do, you'll implement some of these things that we're talking about and that we're looking at. And once that switches and that little idea clicks in someone's mind, then they are able to actually say to themselves, you know what, I am sick of this and I do want to change. Because change leads to growth. So when we can step out of our comfort zones and discover that, we can do this thing that we've been afraid to do, we can get out there and embrace this difference and this change, we will see growth. And I think growth is so brilliant. So as we step into 2024, I say let's pledge to embrace that change. And whether, it's something basic like trying a new presentation tool, or speaking in a different setting, or speaking virtually instead of in person, or actually getting out there to present. Each change is a step towards being a little bit more versatile and being a bit more impactful, and actually, getting out there and just doing it. I think that's such an important thing as well. We forget that, sometimes we just need to give it a go, give it a try. The next theme I want to talk about is the power of authenticity and just being yourself. So in a world that's filled with heaps of scripted ideas and really rehearsed and forced things and, all that sort of stuff, being genuine and heartfelt in how we communicate and being true to us will really stand out. And I think when we're able to step away and actually communicate in a way that is authentic to us, using language that is true to us, of course not sweary, depending on our context, of course, but we don't want to be offensive, our audiences are going to trust us a bit more. So if you think about how we communicate to people in the workplace, if we are acting in a very formal and inauthentic way, we're not likely to be as trusted as we would like to be. If we can communicate in a way that is true to us, but of course respectful and appropriate for the workplace, we're going to find that it'll land better with those who we're talking to. So if we take this into presentations, if we're communicating in a way that makes us look a little bit, forced and fake, then our audiences might not trust us as much as we'd like them to be. An important reframe that I tell a lot of my coaching clients and other people that I work with is that we need to think of presentations as a conversation. If we're going into every presentation focused on it being a presentation, we will seem fake, we will appear forced, and we won't appear to be our authentic selves. But if we treat a presentation as a conversation, including the language that we use in all of our talks, then it'll feel a bit more real. We'll feel a bit more legit, and we'll seem a bit more like ourselves. So I want us to think about authenticity, not just being about being honest, but it's about being relatable. So in 2024, I say let's make a conscious effort to bring our true selves to that podium, to every conversation, to every appearance. Let's share those stories, express your emotions, and let your unique personality shine. Because people are there to speak to you. They want to hear from you. They don't want to hear from the cardboard cutout version of you. The third key theme and final theme will be how to use fear as fuel. So when it comes to presenting and public speaking, this fear is supernatural. And it's how we handle this fear is what defines us as a communicator. And fear often stems from a few different things, but it can certainly come from past experiences because we've had these, other times where we've stood up there and we've been concerned about what other people think about us, or we've thought, you know what, I don't think I'm good enough to do this. But really, we can absolutely get out there and just do it and not worry about what has happened in the past. Using that fear and anxiety as fuel can help you to perform better. So being able to transform nervous energy into enthusiasm and excitement will be what gets you that like powerful spot. A little bit of adrenaline can actually enhance your performance. So it can make you speak more authentically. It can make you feel that you're not afraid. It's a very powerful tool that can empower you to do your best. And I know it'll feel scary, but we'll look at some activities next year as well and how we can actually deal with this more effectively. But breathing activities are important. Expelling some of that unnecessary energy will be important too. So there are so many things that you can do to turn that fear into something that you can use. Thank you once again for supporting this podcast. Please share it with everyone that you know. Tell people that it exists. I don't go out there promoting it very hard because I've just got so much happening and so much on that it's one of those things that I forget to share it. So if you've listened and if you've learned something and you've enjoyed it, just tell some friends. I'd love to be able to boost my listener rate for the coming year. Also, I'd love to be able to be more consistent with when episodes come out. Hopefully, from about February, you'll start seeing weekly episodes land on your Tuesday morning. And if you like this episode, please follow or subscribe and give it a rating. Give it a 5 out of 5. We love that, particularly as I'm in the early stages of the pod. To learn more about what I do as a speaker, a trainer, an MC, and a public speaking, communications and presentation coach, head to my website, www.theocap.com.au. Follow the Craft Messages That Matter Instagram page at CMTM_podcast. And of course, follow my personal Instagram page at TheoCap88.